In the beginning of the movie, we see a husband and wife in an apartment. The husband's name is Peter, but suddenly he jumps off the floor and commits suicide. No one understands why Peter did this. Then, we see an old woman with her caregiver. The caregiver tries to call her, but the old woman mostly stays quiet. While cleaning the house, the caregiver hears some voices and follows them. Then, a scary entity comes and takes her away. In the next scene, we see a couple, and the girl's name is Karen. They talk for a while, and then they both leave for their offices. Karen, who is a caregiver by profession, meets her boss for a project. The boss gives her a project to handle, which is for an old lady. This old lady is the same one who had an incident with her previous caregiver, and now Karen has to go there and become her caregiver. And finally, Karen says yes to this project. Karen, who can now even go to an old lady's house, goes inside the house and tries to talk to the old lady. But when we see the old lady, we may think that she is mentally disabled. After spending some time, Karen also hears some noises there. While exploring the house, Karen finds a room that was locked with tags so that no one could go inside. But Karen opens these tags, and when she opens the door, she sees a diary which she picks up. And right there, she also sees a scary black cat, and a small child is also shown there, and she gets scared of that scary cat. After seeing the child, Karen goes to the old lady to ask about her. But the old lady was talking to some unknown entity there, but no one could be seen there. Karen doesn't understand anything, and suddenly a very scary kind of entity comes in front of her. It was very scary. Seeing this, Karen faints. In the next scene, there is an old woman in a house when some people come to investigate the house. As soon as they enter the house, the old woman notices some strange and poor condition notices. And the man who is showing them the house also sees a child in the bathroom, but he doesn't mention it to the family. He hides it from them. They once again notice some strange and poor condition notices in the house. And in the evening, when the old woman's son returns home, he sees that all the belongings in the house are scattered. He goes to his mother, but she doesn't tell him anything. She just tells him that his wife is upstairs. When the old woman's son goes to his room, he sees that his wife is in a very bad condition. It seemed like someone had hurt her, but then a ghost comes and kills them. In the next scene, Karen's boss is looking for her and reaches the house. But when he arrives, he realizes that something is wrong there, and he calls the police. Detective Karen's boss asks them some questions, and he gives them all the information. While exploring the house, the detective finds a strange room. When they went upstairs to check, they found 2 dead bodies in the room. These bodies were of the old woman's son and daughter-in-law. Karen is in the hospital, and she is very worried about what happened at that house. Detective Karen asks her some questions, and she answers him. Before leaving, Detective Karen gives him a picture. In that picture, the same child was seen that she saw in the secret room. And here, it becomes very troubling because they find out that the child died 3 years ago. A girl is seen working in the office. After finishing her work, she starts to leave, but she feels the presence of someone there. She hears some voices and gets scared, and strange things start happening to her. She sees an entity there, and out of fear, she runs away from there. The girl goes to the building guard and tells him that someone is there. Hearing her, the guard goes to check. A girl was watching CCTV footage in the guard's room. Suddenly, she noticed something strange in one of the CCTV videos. She saw a ghost walking on the floor. Scared, she quickly left the room and ran home. Even when she reached her house, the girl was still scared. The scary entity then attacked and killed her. On the other hand, Karen, who was frightened by all these incidents, went to her husband for help. On the way, she tried to show Karen the terrifying entity, but she didn't pay much attention to it and ignored it. Karen's boss at her office sees a girl who was badly injured. The girl goes towards the basement, and Karen follows her to help. Suddenly, the girl turns around, and her face becomes extremely terrifying. Karen gets very scared when she sees this. While searching on the internet, Karen comes across information about this family. Karen learns about the history of a house where she finds out that a man killed his wife and son before committing suicide in the same house. There were also pictures of that family in the house, which the detective had told Karen about. In that family, there is a woman named Yakub, and the child is the same one. Along with the pictures of that family, we also saw a picture of the man who had jumped off a building in the beginning of the movie and committed suicide. His name is Peter. We see this footage on CCTV. The footage shows a scary entity walking. The next morning, Karen goes to Peter's wife to get more information about him. Peter's wife shows Karen a lot of pictures. When looking at those pictures, nothing seemed strange at first, but upon closer inspection, Karen notices something. She notices that in every picture, a lady is following Peter, who was in almost every picture. There was a lady named Lady Jacob who Karen searched for on the internet. After seeing everything, Karen goes to a detective and learns something new. The detective tells Karen that about 3 years ago, he and his 3 teammates were working on this case together. But unfortunately, during the investigation of this case, 2 of his teammates were killed. He says that because of fear, he closed the case. The detective tells Karen that when someone dies in a cruel way, a debt is created there, and there is only one way to get rid of the debt, which is to destroy everything related to that debt. That same night, the detective takes petrol with him and goes to that house so that he can set it on fire, but someone kills him. Karen comes back home and receives a message from her husband, who tells her that he is going to that house to find Karen. A woman named Karen hears a message and quickly runs to save her husband's life. When Karen arrives at the house, she meets Peter's spirit. Peter's spirit shows her many pictures and the diary that Karen also had. In the diary, Peter's name was written on every page thousands of times. All the secrets are revealed, and Lady Jacob, who liked Peter a lot, followed him and captured him in every picture. But Peter didn't know anything about her love for him. One day, the diary falls into the hands of Jacob's husband. He reads it and gets very angry. He cruelly kills Jacob by twisting her neck right in front of their little daughter. And that's not all. He becomes so evil that he drowns his own daughter in water and also kills the black cat that scared Karen by hitting it against the wall. In the diary, Jacob had also kept pictures of Peter. Jacob used to write all his feelings in the same diary. The reason for all the violence and debt was because of these Jacob, who first took Peter's life. In fact, when that old lady's family came to live here, they also killed them, along with the detective's colleagues too. And now he has also killed the detective. And now, because Karen and her husband were left, who will also kill them for the debt. And all the deaths that have occurred have happened because of this house. After knowing everything, Karen tries to save her husband, but Jacob was slowly approaching her husband. Karen had poured petrol all over the house and lit a lighter, causing a fire to start in the entire house. After that, we see Karen in the hospital. because she had to go there to identify her husband's dead body, as her husband also died in the fire, and Karen somehow managed to save her own life. When Karen goes to see her husband's dead body, she sees Jacob there again. All the people connected to the debt were killed. But how Karen's husband died, we will see in the second part. And this part ends here. Thank you so much.